A murder occurred this winter's eve, and the last thing the victim, Sheena, saw was a large golden handbell. Greetings and salutations, my name is Deltra, and helping you build killing machines so you can dominate in PvP and in special hero maps. And if you want help earning all the orbs, feathers, sacred coins, refining stones, everything this game throws at you every single week, consider subscribing. Let's get her digits. Who has a giant handbell and has the highest BST in the game? This girl. This inflation is getting a little crazy, guys, but she does have a super boon, so you know that helps out. She also has a super bane and hit points, so you know don't take that. But otherwise, looking at her skills, she has a great set of skills across the board. But here's the thing: is that they're also average, high average, but they're also average for an armor unit. She's gonna get pummeled on, but we're gonna talk about that in a moment. As far as that big handbell we have, of course it's inheritable, and it grants her +2 to all of her stats whenever she is initiated on, so that does help her out quite a lot, actually, as we're going to see in a moment. She also comes packed with Bonfire, just spreading that warm cheer for the holidays. Bold Fighter 3, this is what everybody's going to want to put on all their armored units. It's an armored only quick riposte upgrade. Well, not quick riposte, it's Brash Assault upgrade, I guess, would be in this case. Otherwise, it grants you cooldown charges, it lets you double tap. It's just beautiful. I mean, I have a small tear in my eye. She also comes stocked with Fortify Armor 3. Let's jump right into the builds. First, we're going to talk about a budget build here. We're going to keep that handbell, and we're going to go ahead and keep Bonfire. We're going to give her reposition, because once again, that's what you do. Swap also works very well on armor units, and if you want to mix her in with a non-armored team, then go ahead and give her pivot. It's going to work out wonderful. If we just give her a simple Death Blow 3, and then I suggest switching out her skill to Threaten Attack 3, although if you do keep her solely in Armor Emblem, never mix her into other teams, then you know what, give her an armor buff. Regardless, this particular build here is actually super effective, as you can see from her aggressor and duelist ratings. It's just incredible. Let's go to the obituaries for this. 29 and 5. A budget build doing 29 and 5. I don't understand it. Once again, the DPT is filled with all kinds of units that are just incredibly potent, top of the line, and we're getting rid of a lot of people here. I mean, you know, we can see that we're getting a lot of red, actually, even Ryoma, Lincia, Ike. I mean, just this initiation is crazy. Keeping on, we do get rid of a lot of blue that we need to, especially in this meta, frickin' Nowie, and we do get rid of Brave Ike, so that is good. People that we don't want to initiate on, people like them. A lot of red units here, and Amelia? You don't want to initiate on an Amelia? Not if she's powered up, you don't. Also, as far as people that will kill us whenever they initiate on us, a lot of red, that same Valencia. I mean, there's faces here that I'm sure you are not surprised to see. This particular build is actually really nice because it can go back and forth as long as you're not trying to block red. You could go after some red, as you saw, but you don't want to block red with this. When it comes down to it, she has terrible hit points for an armored unit, and she has an okay defense for an armored unit. She has a great defense and pretty good hit points for non-armored units, but you know, remember, she's moving one space at a time. You're not going to have the mobility and flexibility to always bait the way that you want to with her, so you have to be super careful. Let's go ahead and take a look at something that upgrades a lot of things. Let's take a look at a Brave Axe build, because everybody wants to know how this works. If you're going to do this, switch out her Bonfire for Ignis. It's wonderful. And yeah, we're going to go and give her that other shiny new skill, Brazen Attack and Defense 3. Keep her Bold Fighter, and I suggest giving her Armored March. This particular build needs the mobility Armored March provides, but she also needs all the buffs. So if she is the one providing the Armor March benefit, then her teammates can help give her all the other buffs, and that's exactly what you want here. We have two different aggressor ratings here. The first one is whenever she is not charged up with Brazen Attack and Defense. The second one is when she's charged up with Brazen Attack and Defense. It doesn't look like there's a lot of difference in the values there in the ranking, but let me tell you, jumping up from just the simple A to an A+ opens up a lot more options and a lot more things die to it. Speaking of which, let's take a look at the obituaries. So there's two questions here. One is that what doesn't die to us on initiation? Even though the DPT is a little lower than the budget build, this particular build actually does have more advantages and killing power against the entire field of play. Things that I don't put in the DPT but aren't as troubling in corner cases like Kagero. You know, you're not worried about Kagero. But regardless, while the DPT is slightly lower here than what it is in the budget build, it works better across the board. And so the question here though is, what can't we kill? And the answer is very few things. Unfortunately, the answer to what doesn't kill us is the same. This build is so frail and weak, guys. I mean, you're leaving yourself open. But that Ignis pop is amazing. You're getting so much mileage out of Ignis that whenever it comes down to it, if you have Armor March, if you're trying to really bolster your armor team such that you have that speed in it with and have good repositioning capabilities, this build is just going to wreck so much face. I haven't seen the amount of kills on a unit like this since Arden came out, and it makes sense because her B-slot is basically Arden's ability, but better. Much better. Poor Arden. Speaking of which, if you want to give him that skill as opposed to follow-up ring, I'm sure he would appreciate it. Regardless, this is very frail, and I can't say that I recommend it. I'm showing you guys because everybody wants to do this, and my pieces of advice are make sure that you have Armor March in your team, and definitely give her Ignis. Bonfire is not going to get you as far. You want to go at Ignis. You want to have that extra pop. That extra damage is where everything is going to be coming from for you. So if I don't recommend that build, what build do I recommend? Well, I am really partial to a distant counter build using Slaying Axe. With this particular setup, you want to go with a plus defense Slaying Axe and keep Old Fighter, because here's the neat thing. This is sort of like an Omni build. I know that's fancy terminology, right? I just mean that it can be player phase and enemy phase, and the idea here is that you want to go ahead and catch all the ranged units, because look at that deflector score. That's a wonderful deflector score. Deflectors, whatever you're catching, ranged units or anything that uses magic, actually. So all of the dragons in melee, this would count against too. Duelist-wise, it's actually a pretty decent duelist, not as good as the budget build. Once again, we're making some trade-offs here, but you're now catching those ranged units, and you could actually bait and make people pay for this. Let's go ahead and take a look at the obituaries. 24 and 8 on offense, 10 and 9 on defense. This is a great defense. This is even better than the budget build on defense. I mean, both of the other two builds were not that great on defense, but this is something that you could actually work with. And as far as attacking goes, I mean, you could go ahead and get Ryoma on this. You also get rid of all the other people that are really relevant in the meta. You know, Berlin, then of course you're talking about Reinhardt. You can get rid of the Halloween units. Those are great. There's just so much that this is letting you do. And on the reverse side, on the defender side, the 10, I mean, you're getting Bolin and Reinhardt, both with this build. It takes care of both of them. You're not exactly in stellar shape afterwards, but you're there, and you're taking out all of these people, and with just a small buff. Now remember, the DPT, whenever we evaluate these wins and losses, I do not give the unit that we're evaluating any buffs. That's right, there are no armor buffs on this particular Lissa, which means she's going to perform better in practice for you, because you're not going to just let her go out there all on her own, especially if she's supposed to be defending somebody. You're going to have her buffed up, so she's going to be able to handle multiple of these threats. She's going to be able to kill multiple of the other threats very easily, and it's just beautiful. Once again, you want to have defense on the Slaying Lance. Going plus resistance, unless you have a particular build that you're going to add a lot of other things onto for resistance and stack that a lot, it's not going to be enough to save you. Even then, to be honest with you, the plus 8 is enough that you don't need that other plus 4 to go to 12. You're going to be okay. So I don't really recommend going plus resistance, but you definitely can. And if you go plus resistance, don't go Bonfire, go Iceberg or Glacies. Speaking of Glacies and Ignis, you could definitely go with that, but then you're not going to have as great a return fire on enemies. The Bonfire is there because you want that to charge up so that you could swing back at someone who hits you with a ranged attack, and it's going to let you do that, especially with the speed that you have. It's going to help. The other thing to point out is that you could get force yourself to have a seal of speed and give yourself the speed upgrade on the slaying axe, and give yourself the and if you have a boon that is plus speed, you could go the fast route with this, and it actually saves you a lot more, but that is a huge investment in speed, and it's something that you're not going to reap that many dividends on because of follow-up ring, because of Bold Fighter 3. Now, you could go quick riposte, that's going to get more kills on defense as well whenever you're being initiated on, but then your offense is going to really suffer. So if you want to go and completely retrofit her that way, go for it. It does work, but this is the build I recommend because it is so darn flexible and it leverages as much of her as possible. Do me a favor, if you like your Fire Emblem information hot and fresh like grandma's cookies, hit that subscribe button. My name is Deltran. Thank you guys so much. I greatly appreciate all of you, and until next time, take it easy.